frequency over volume over intensity, right? So what it means is doing something more number of times should be your key metric when you're starting out. The more number of times you can do something, let's say you are not working out at all, doing it once a week will be upgrade from there. Then increasing that 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, 5, right? That should be the focus in the beginning, not how long you're doing it for or how hard you are doing it, because that's the most important part. Once you have figured that you are able to do 3-4 sessions a week, then you can start worrying about how long are you training for. Second most important factor is then volume, how much time you are spending in the sport, be it running or any endurance sport. And then finally comes intensity. So people make the mistake of going in the reverse order. One time they will go is they will knock out everything and get their PBs and then come back later next month.
I am Venki, a working professional in IT as well as an amateur masters athlete and a coach for endurance sports. You are listening to the Working Athlete podcast. Here, I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, I have a small request from you. Please subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. You can also let me know what you like and what you would like to listen to more of by commenting in the comment section on YouTube. I promise to do my best to improve with each episode and bring you the best content that helps you and me get better each day. This episode is brought to you by The Bike Affair. If you are in search of a one-stop destination that caters to all your cycling needs, our today's sponsor, The Bike Affair, is the perfect place to check out. I have known the founders of The Bike Affair, Krish and Gokul, personally for nearly 15 years now. In fact, my first century ride was with Krish back in 2008. They are both exceptional human beings and entrepreneurs that believe in providing exceptional service to their customers. And it shows. With over 14 years of experience, the Bike Affair has established itself as a trusted source offering honest advice and exceptional service. They are offering a special treat for the listeners of this podcast. You can enjoy a 10% discount on your first order by using the code BikeyVenki on their website. So if you are in Hyderabad, visit their store in Kondapur, or if you are anywhere else in India, shop online by using the link thebikeaffair.com. I will leave the link in the show notes. Now, enjoy the podcast. Hi, Ujjwal. Welcome to the Working Athlete podcast.
Thank you so much. My first podcast, so glad to be here.
Awesome. Ujjwal, before we get started, I wanted to kind of understand what was your relationship with sport growing up?
Right. If we are starting from there, my story begins back in Delhi. So I've been born and brought up there. Grew up in a family of doctors who had come from their own state and settled in Delhi. So everything was quite new for them, I'm sure. As a child, I was very active, but of course, because of whatever conditions of parents, right? I was never a part of any competitive sport growing up. So I would always be playing cricket in the streets with my friends, or in the school, I would always be outside. Like I would enjoy my games period the most. But nothing out of the ordinary as such, like, right? If someone looked at me 20 years back, thinking that, okay, this guy might become something in the field of sport, there would have been no indication like that. So yeah, just a regular kid growing up. I used to bunk when I started growing up. I got to 7th, 8th standard. That's when I started even skipping some of my classes and just being in the ground, right? Because that's where I felt the most alive, and that was my best part of the day, right? I wanted to spend more time there than sitting in the classroom, which I think has translated well while growing up, because I never enjoyed corporate life, which is a similar structure, right? You sit, you work, there you sit and study.
Right.
That concept never really, like, I never really enjoyed that. So yeah, playing a lot, but never on a competitive scale is what I would put my background as.
Right. What were you playing? The
So,
usual cricket and
yeah,
stuff.
the usual. As growing up as a kid, like when I was very small, I used to have an elder brother, so we would play cricket a lot in a very small space, right, on our terrace or on the streets. So that was um, not by choice, but by design. Like cricket is the easiest to play, right, with
Right.
anyone. So that's how it went. But in school, as I grew, I think after fifth standard, I started playing football a lot, which I think, looking back, has helped with my base level of fitness, because football is a more athletic sport, and I think that set my foundation right, because I was playing football sometimes even 4 or 5 hours a day in school.
Wow.
Which reflects again that I did not study that much. But yeah, I think I really like football, and in college I also wanted to play football at a college level, but I had specs at that time, and that sort of disqualified me from playing, because every time I would hit a header, it would fall off. So as a result, I chose track and field instead of football, and I think that's where my path towards athletics and endurance sport, not endurance at least, but running, started from.
So running, when was this? When did you get into running?
Purely saying, running was in college, and that too, as I mentioned, it was just by coincidence that I was good at running. I always knew that. So whenever I used to play football as well in school, I would be one of the fastest guys. So that used to be one of my strengths in football,
Right.
that I can sprint faster than most people. So in college, I just enrolled for the whatever they have a selection process, right? So for football and athletics, I registered for both. I got selected in both, but then football guys said, okay, this will not work unless you remove your specs, and I had minus 4.5 power, which I was nearly blind without my specs. So by a matter of decision taken by someone else, I got moved towards running, and then yeah, I just picked that up in college.
Nice. So, and how far did you go with track and sport? Did you enjoy it? What was what about it kind of fueled you?
So, a little bit about myself. I am a very competitive person. Ye- Be it any field, either academics or work or sport, I used to be very competitive, right? So, when I took up athletics, I was like all in, like I want to win, right? I was not there just to
Participate.
build fitness, even build fitness, right? Some people would come there and think, okay, they'll get fitter. But my goal was to win, and that's just my personality, right? So, I started out and I was really, really motivated. And I think that has driven a lot of my athletic journey even till now. But I never got really good at it. Why? Because firstly, from my initial years to that 18, 20 or whatever, right? I did not have a proper coaching, or I was never really focused on it, because I was still balancing academics and sports, right? I still had to sit for the JE exams and prepare for all those things. So didn't have a sporting background. Plus, we did not have a coach in the college. So basically, our seniors were training us, and then when we became seniors, we were trying to train our juniors. So that was the concept. And of course, there's only so much you can know about anything, right? Nowadays, you have ChatGPT to help you at least. That those days, you will just look at some random YouTube video, which was still a scarcity at that time. It was 2015. So I used to get injured quite a lot, because high motivation plus lack of proper knowledge of how to go about it. And sprinting is a very explosive activity.
Correct.
So if you do it wrong, you're gonna get something wrong, right? Something will break off. And our ground also used to be that hard mud. It was not a synthetic track or some just a basic thing. So as a result, I used to get injured, and I think that was the biggest fallback, when I would say, in terms of my improvement. If I was consistent and I did things right, I could have improved much. But I didn't think I reached a very far stage in my track and field journey. I did become the captain because I was the most motivated. So people thought, okay, this person can lead a team. And I did have that quality to lead a team. But what I did not have is that athletic pursuit. So my best, for example, in 400 meters was somewhere around 55 seconds, which is not that great on even on a state level in some cases, right? People in high school generally clock like 50 seconds, somewhere around that. So comparing that to, I mean, I was better than a lot of people who were in my college, but again, nothing compared to the elites, I would say.
Right. Okay. But once you
how did that progress from there? Once you got out of college, how did you continue running? How did that go?
Well, that's a very interesting journey, I would say. So I graduated from BITS. So BITS is one of the top elite colleges in terms of academics.
Right.
So the standard path that anyone would think for a BITS graduate is get a good job, high-paying job, or you go for masters abroad, right?
Right.
Those are the common things, and that's what most of my peers did as well.
Right.
Startup thing was booming a little bit, so some went that way, but this was the majority sector.
Hmm.
I did not know what to do. I was good at a few things. I was not excellent at something. So, but I definitely knew that I don't want to be in that corporate life. Uh,
When did you
just
graduate?
this is 2019.
BITS Pilani?
Yeah.
Oh.
So 2019, what was happening at that time is Ironman Goa, and that was its inaugural event, right?
Right.
So it is right in December of 2018 when I'm like leaving college. It is my last semester in college. After that is a 6-month internship. That time I don't know what to do. I did not sit for placements because I mean everyone wanted to do that. I just didn't want to. Like everyone I felt was going for it just because everyone else was doing it, not
Right.
because they wanted to do it. And that is the safe way, right? To go about it. Like what to do after college. No one knows, but they just go there because that's the herd mentality. I did not sit because, yeah, I wanted to try other things. I wanted to understand what are the options available for me and not just get into this comfortable zone and stick with it for a long period of time. So, didn't know what to do December 2018, but then I heard about this concept of Ironman. I did not know triathlon till that point, what it even meant, right? Let alone train for it or anything. So 2018 Ironman Goa happened and registrations opened. And I was like, let's just do it. Let's just register. Whatever money I have. I had started my internship around that time, like in January. I said, okay, let's just go all in. That's when I actually moved to Bangalore. So before that, I had never come to Bangalore. My 6-month internship was in Samsung in this Whitefield. And January 2019 is when I come to Bangalore. First week, I sign up for Ironman Goa.
Nice.
I'm like, okay, this is what I have to do. Let's see how it goes. So that's how my journey began after college, like transition from college to the work life, I would say. Internship is a exposure to that. And I mean, I already had a hunch this is not something I have to do. That just confirmed me that, okay, what I expected was right. This is not gonna cut out for me. So I would spend most of my day training for the Ironman. I did not have a coach at that time. I did try with a couple of guys in India, but at that time, I think it was not that established, or for whatever reason, that match did not happen. Like, I felt I could do a lot more with myself, and that person was not helping me grow as much, I felt, right? Of course, naivety also a little bit there that when you're starting out, you feel like you can do anything. You are the
Right.
captain of the
Yeah.
track and field team,
Yeah.
right? So I said, okay, let it go. I will train on my own. So I started reading all the articles, all the podcasts, all the YouTube videos that there existed about triathlon, and started self-coaching myself. In the beginning, it went well. For 2-3 months, it was going really well. But then I started getting the injury phase of my career, which is actually where I started actually understanding how the body works.
Right.
That's the first time I understood. Before that, I used to get injured, but I was like, okay. I mean, as a 19-year-old, you don't understand injuries. You're like, okay, it's paining today. I'll rest 2 days. I'll go back again and train.
Yeah.
That is the actual first time when I realized, okay, what an injury means, because that's when I went to a physio and they told me, okay, this is how it works. You have overstrained or done something wrong. So a lot of learnings in my first year, I would say, right after college. But those 10 months were, I think, super critical for me. I did train myself. I did make a lot of mistakes, but I did a lot of things right as well. And that was a time where I could completely devote myself to it, because internship was, again, nothing major happening there. So I could basically rest out whenever I used to go to the office and have the meals there, but always focusing on the training. So I was training 2 times, made my own plans. And yeah, I did overtrain quite a lot, and I didn't realize it at that time, but it did set my base fitness like really well for the upcoming part of the whatever career I have till now.
So around that time when you said you were overtraining, what sort of swimming, cycling and running were you doing? What, how did it go?
Yeah. So again, another interesting story. So January, yeah, I registered for the Ironman. Next week, I buy my first road bike. I have no idea again what the bike system is. I have the last bike I rode was my Razorback in class 12th,
Right.
and that's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
What else can a bike be? Then I figured out, okay, what is a road bike? What is a TT bike? I was thinking of getting a TT bike directly, but then of course smart people in the bike store told me, okay, this is not for you.
Right.
If you have only ridden Razorback in your life, you should probably try something much more basic. So I
Hmm.
got my first road bike, a very basic entry level one. And again, I was like
Which bike
on
was
the high.
this?
So I had a giant SER2,
Hmm.
which is like the eight
Yeah,
speed
yeah,
bike, a
not
common one,
yeah,
right? I did not know what I can do, but I was super excited that first time I rode it from the store to my house also. I was like going, of course, like very fast, right? I
right.
could hit 30 kmph, which I could never
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
So I felt like super confident that time. I researched what are the best routes to ride around Bangalore. First results come Nandi Hills.
right.
I am living near Whitefield.
Right.
I'm like, okay, next Saturday, it is a holiday from work. Let's take out my bike. Let's go Nandi. I see the maps. Okay, it says some 60 kilometers. I'm like, okay, so what is? I mean, I didn't understand the concept of what is 60, what is 30. I
Hmm.
have one bottle. Um, I have just my phone, nothing else, like, and a helmet. No
Right.
spare kit, no gels, no food. Only one water bottle that is 750 ml.
Right.
And I set out.
Hmm.
And I went the whole way. I did not understand that I'm getting tired or anything. I mean, those concepts did not exist for me.
Right.
So just went for it. It took me about 4 or 5 hours to get there. I climbed it also, felt like I'm the king of the world. When I started coming back, my body started breaking down. It is around hour 4, I mean, I think 5, 6 hours
Right.
around that time.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't know what to do. I should have probably called for help. That would have been the best case. But I am like riding my bike my brain is like half off already. I am blurring out. I am getting dizzy. Everything is happening.
No concept,
And
no food, nothing.
nothing.
Yeah.
I had my phone, but I didn't have the concept that I should call someone or like I'm not feeling good right now.
Right.
It can become very dangerous. But then I got back home, I think after 9, 10 hours that day. And immediately, as my friends opened the gate for me, I am like collapsed on the floor and severely dehydrated, severely underfueled. Yeah, that was a serious risk, I would say. Not, I won't advise anyone to do it, but
Did you
um,
stop somewhere? Did you eat something along the way?
nothing. I would just look at my phone to see if I am going the right route or not every like maybe half an hour or 1 hour or so. That is it.
Wow.
But other than that, it was like all guns blazing in a cold winter morning in Bangalore. One small boy who's riding his bike mostly for the first time. Like I rode my bike from store to my home, first ride. Second ride was Nandi,
Nandi.
which is a 120 kilometer with a climb and with
Right.
one water bottle. I don't think I can do it now with one water bottle. Now my mind will say, no, please stop. But that time, yeah, just pure adrenaline, pure motivation, and just the high of doing something new
Right.
that carried me the whole entire way.
Hmm.
So this is my first example of overtraining.
Right.
That's where it started from.
Hmm.
Other than that, I think I was making my plans decently well, but I was running very, very fast. Like I overestimated how fast I could run.
Hmm.
And every time I would go out for a run, it would firstly be on a cemented surface
Right.
in our society because that was the only thing available. And I would run like sub 5 most of the times.
Coming from a sprint background,
yeah, exactly.
that kind of sounds okay.
Yeah, that sounds
Not
like very slow
realizing-
for me.
Yeah.
Like I have never run that slow before. Sorry. And I was like, okay, I mean, even if I don't have the endurance, I cannot run 1.5 hours, but 20 minutes I'll run very fast. And that's how I was running quite often. And my first injury came from, of course, running. And I think that was a very big mistake. And if someone new is starting out now, that's where having a coach or having someone to mentor you helps.
Right.
Because once I developed that weakness, right, it is my psoas. So that was my first point of failure, and it has never left me ever since.
Right.
So that has been recurring almost throughout the 6 years that I've been in the sport.
Hmm.
So once you develop that weakness or weak spot, that's the first point of failure that will happen if you start training too much.
Right.
And you do that, right? Once you are preparing for a main race, you will be training quite hard. You will
Right.
be doing a lot of things to get that peak performance.
Right.
But yeah, if something goes wrong, it has always been my psoas, and on both sides,
Yeah.
alternatingly. But yeah, that's something. One thing that I regret is probably having had someone to guide me on that part, like in my
Right.
initial phases of training.
Right. So you were doing a bit of a heroic training, so to speak, right?
Yeah,
To
yeah,
kind of
super heroic. Yeah.
so I mean, typically when we start out, we don't have anyone to guide, and also when you are young, we tend to feel like Superman, like like I can do anything, right?
Right.
That confidence will be there, that naivety will be there, and when you are set your sights on something, you want to go and do all you can.
Right.
So you trained like that, and you injured yourself. How did you kind of get out of that injury and continue to train, and what was the path towards the first event?
Right. So this is around May when I
Hmm.
first got my bout of injury.
Hmm.
One good friend I met, his name is Ramesh. He's an Ironman as well.
Mhm.
He's the first triathlete I met
Hmm.
ever in my life,
Right.
who had done some event, Ironman based, right? So he recommended me to a physio. I went to them. They started doing deep tissues and some other forms of needling, some different kinds of therapies. That helped me. What helped me more was like calming myself down, which took a while, right? I did not get that part immediately, so I got injured, but I would still keep on pressing. So it was probably around month and a half that I was still trying. Like I did not understand how much rest I need to completely recover from this and restart training at some ground zero.
Hmm.
Right? I was like, okay, 2-3 days rest, same concept, right? As in college, I will try to rest it out for 2-3 days. I will just focus on swimming and cycling, something else.
Yeah.
Come back to running. It did not work out for a month and a half. That's when I started reading about it more, researching a bit more of how to actually train. Right. Once you get injured, that's when you start like exploring and expanding your horizons of knowledge,
Right.
either through your coach or through reading about it somewhere else, right? So that's when I realized, okay, it needs a longer break. I should also reduce my speed, etc. So for the next 2-3 months, I reduced my volume, my speed quite a bit for until July. So there was one event happening called the Bangalore Triathlon, organized by TriBLR. So that was their first event, and it was meant as a preparatory event for Goa, which was happening around July, August, somewhere in that time. So I did not run until that event, and that's probably how I recovered. I think it is more attributed towards me being young at that time, and my ability to recover was faster, and also that I rested it out. So that was probably enough for me to come back to running. I straight away ran in that race. I won that one, and I was running decent. Like I was running about 4:20 pace for that 10K in that Olympic distance triathlon, which felt, I mean, good for me. And by my standards, I'm like, okay, even if I didn't run for a month and a half, I can still pull this off. Which means I think I can probably manage to do the same volume based training, easy zone 2 training, right? Now now we know it's zone 2.
Yeah.
That time it was like run slower than you think you should.
Yeah.
That's what I used to tell myself.
Right.
So I was like, okay, let's follow this pattern until the first race. It is working, whatever I'm doing. And the final few months, I worked with Dr. Vignan. So he was my other touch point in triathlon at that time. And he helped me out with the plans at that time for about 4 to 6 weeks before Goa. So that helped me to structure a bit more and address my weaknesses a bit more, which was cycling endurance at that time.
Right.
And yeah, that was pretty much it. That was my whole build to work.
Right.
First Goa.
So how the 2019 Goa 70.3, it was the first time an Ironman 70.3 came to India, and everyone was pretty excited as you were. And how did it go for you?
So first race is always special, right?
Right.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
You always remember your first one most vividly.
Yeah.
Even if it is like 10-15 years back for you, I'm sure you would remember yours as well. So it was very special because I didn't know how to swim as well. Like when I came to Bangalore in January, I could barely swim like 25-50 meters. Just the basic. I had the basic fitness and I have some sense of how to move forward. That is it. So learning how to swim, then figuring out literally everything about the sport, right? Only thing I was familiar with was running, and that too for 10 seconds. So all three were frankly very, very new for me.
Right.
And yeah, just the race itself was one experience, but I would talk more about the whole journey towards that race, which was actually more crucial and more fulfilling for me.
Right.
Just understanding and learning 3 new skills, not just 3, actually it is many more, but there are 3 sports. And yeah, I just love the fact that this lifestyle suited me very, very much. Just training, eating, sleeping. I mean, that is the main core of it. But being healthy, having more energy throughout the day, those were the things that actually made me realize that this is the life I would want to lead. Not just now, but 10, 15, 20, maybe even 50 years down the line, right? And yeah, so I think that was the more important part about the first triathlon. Coming back to the triathlon, the Ironman, half Ironman Goa itself, I did not know what to expect. Again, there was some level of overconfidence still left in me, which got humbled after that race. But before that, I was still like, okay, maybe I can win it. Because I did not know anyone in the field, right? And it is happening for the first time. I didn't have any data points of how others are in the whole country. I did not know anyone.
And you won your first Olympic distance race.
I won my first Olympic. I came second in the sprint distance that I had done before that. So I was feeling confident that, okay, I am good. I don't know who the others are. Then I started doing some research and then I figured the only thing I could find was some information about these army guys who were clocking some 4:30. That's when I got the hint that, okay, maybe, just maybe, I may not win it. But
until then, it was a certainty.
Yeah. It was a certainty in the first few steps of the Goa race when I saw them go towards the water, which I didn't have that confidence to like sprint into the water. That's when I realized, okay, there is some sort of some good players in the whole country that I do have to catch up to. And it went, I would say, I would give it a 7 on 10, like my first Goa in terms of performance. In terms of experience, of course, it's like there's no number to it, right? What I did wrong was mostly my nutrition. Like that was my biggest drawback. And the second is I did not have enough training to conquer something like Goa, right? Because one is I had trained for 90 kilometers cycling. I could run 21. Of course, I could not combine the two and still maintain my pace because it was my first year. So I didn't have that base fitness sorted. Plus also the heat and humidity brings down your performance quite a lot. And the like less fitter you are, the worse your exponentially worse your performance gets. Right? If you are like super fit, your performance may drop by 5-10%. But if you are like as you go down the rungs, your performance will actually be detrimenting by even like 20-30% in the heat and humidity. So that hit me that day. I walked the run course, quite a lot of it, and I still finished the fastest first timer. Like I think I was 10th or 11th that day, which gave me hope. I finished around 5:27.
Not bad at all.
I was aiming for I was aiming for 5. I finished in 5:27, so I was a bit disappointed. But then I looked at everyone else who finished ahead of me, and literally everyone had done a few. And I mean, if you look at that list, you will know they are the who and who of triathlon today. So then I was like a bit okay with the result, and more importantly, I wasn't focusing on the result just after finishing or even a few days after finishing, because I was still trying to take in out what had just happened, because it was a life-changing thing again. The whole training plus the culmination of that training into something objective in front of you, right? You trained for 10 months, you gave your life for 10 months to one particular thing. That's it. You were not focusing on anything else in your life. And then you actually did it. So that was like the emotional blast hit me for the next few days, and I was just a bit lost of what to do next. Like That's where my life plan ended.
Right.
Ki, okay, I have January I registered, and till that point I was just thinking about that day. Ki, I
Right.
have to do this properly. I have to do this properly. I have to do my best here.
Yeah.
But when that day got over, then when I don't know what my rest of my plan for my life is.
Right.
So for a few days I was a bit lost, and it took me some time to realize where do I stand. Can I make a career out of this? That was a very important question, right? Because I didn't know at that time what the sport brought to me. So can I
How
actually do
old
it?
were you in 2019? 21?
I was 22
22.
that time.
Right.
So those are the kind of the questions I was contemplating. Should I keep doing it? Is it worthy ROI? What will I get out of it? Am I happy with it? And if I still want to do it, how do I go about it? So those were the things that were revolving in my head.
Right. So how did what were the answers that came out of each of those questions at that point of time?
Yep. So let's talk about the first one, which is, should I be doing it? Of course, the answer I am here today. So
Right.
of course I'm doing it.
Yeah.
That time I felt confident, like after a few days when everything sunk in, I felt confident, right? Like if you have finished 10th in a race of 800 as a first timer, you feel confident. Of course, there is something to chase to it, but yeah, I just felt like I can make it big and I can become the best at it if I give enough time to it.
Right.
The more important question was, can I actually do it? Because the sport is not paying. And everything that I funded for this race came from my internship at Samsung for the 6 months, right? So I was not earning anything outside of it. In fact, my internship stopped at June. So I had to pre-plan my whole finances until that race was in October.
Right.
Okay, how much can I pay each month so that I can actually just make it to that point? So that was my biggest challenge. I mean, that's the challenge for most people, I would say, whoever is a working athlete or the youngsters for sure, but even older people, like, you have to prioritize what are you getting out of doing the sport. My answer was clear that I definitely want to do this because it is worth doing first. Like, that is my most important point, is it was worth doing. I loved the lifestyle. I loved the competition element of it. And I did feel like I could become the best at it. So those three things combined made me think in that direction of how to make it work. Right. And yeah, the answer was quite simple. You need a lot of money. It is an honest truth about the whole concept of doing a triathlon, especially when you are in India.
Right.
Because, yeah, I don't even have to answer why, because you can just see by the who has made it till now, right? It started in 2019. There were a lot of my peers who were doing somewhere near my level or somewhere above, somewhere below, right? But close to me. And a lot of them have churned out of the sport.
Right.
Why? Because it is not sustainable, right? In India, outside, if someone does it at a club level, they might get paid by the clubs or they might have some sponsorships, etc. Right? Nothing like that existed here. So you can't really fund this whole journey just by doing triathlons. So I had a long-term plan. I mean, that's when I made the plan for myself that I do have a good degree, I do have good qualifications. Let me put my skill set to good use and do something, but for the sake of my actual love, right? So it's not that I hated my job. I still loved doing things. That's how I found my job. So I found my jobs in early stage startups because that was again a very similar environment to sports. It's fast paced. You have a lot of ownership over what you can do and you get to learn a lot.
Right.
So I figured, okay, let's go into this direction. I have to make my ends meet to be able to do this sport. And I started doing something that I don't hate. I actually loved it a little bit, but it was still not my main thing. Right? So second priority, but that's how I started moving ahead in my professional career, I would say. So I started working as a full stack developer, upskilled myself. I did not have a computer science background, so I learned everything in my first job, which was starting December of 2019.
Right.
Learned everything. It was a team of 5, right? So it is as close to the founder level as possible. Like you are the first few engineers, you get a hands-on experience on everything.
Right.
Of course, it was a very tough job, and which will come to later, like it actually caused a clash with my sporting career at that time.
Mm.
But I learned a lot in terms of my professional upbringing, and that's what I think set the base for the next few jobs. So I have till now I have worked in 5 early stage startups. In the beginning, they were Indian companies. After two, I switched to US based and Australia based companies. So all remote work.
Right.
Um, it, Again, I chose it because it
Of course.
suited my sporting life as well. Like I could
Right.
train from wherever I wanted and however long I wanted.
Right.
And yeah, so that was the decision I took at that time, that I need to make my ends meet. I need to have a lot of money to do the sport. So
Mm.
let's just do that. Like I have to sacrifice, of course, how much time I can spend towards the sport.
Mm.
But it is an essential part. Like if you don't have this, you cannot have that.
Correct.
And you have to make that sacrifice to be able to do this. Otherwise, if you put your 100% here, after some time, you will become broke and you will not be able to do it.
Exactly right. Sport is not cheap, and sport doesn't pay. What is the put two and two together, and you will know, right?
Right.
So I mean, all of us working athletes are essentially using our day job to
Yeah.
fuel
Fund
our passion, right?
Right.
That's the thing. Yeah.
That is true. And after like once you're 30 or once you have crossed a certain stage where you start doing sport for the lifestyle part of it,
Hmm.
then it makes sense. But if you are like 20s and you're trying to make it big, that's like a very hard choice to make at that
Yeah.
time, right?
True.
Because you want to do your best in the sport,
Correct.
but you have to make your ends meet also. So you have to take that decision, and it's a hard decision. Like that's why a lot of people cannot take it at that point when they are in
Right.
their early 20s.
Right.
After 30s or 40s, you sort of realize that you cannot be the world champ,
Right.
right? So you will start doing it as a lifestyle to
Hmm.
become healthier, to become fitter,
Right.
or to do something to feel a sense of achievement in some other space, right?
Correct.
But
So how did
yeah,
you navigate that, those times, like the initial, the first job, or learning that there will be a steep learning curve there as well, right? In the startup arena, and then you want to spend more time here in sport as well.
right,
So how did you, and you cannot really leave this behind and say I will stick to the sport, right?
right,
So how did you navigate this?
right. Mm, Another thing about me is, one, I'm competitive. The other thing, I can be very disciplined if I want to,
Hmm.
right? So those two things combined have given me a lot of edge in whatever I've done, right? Starting right from college, like I was decent at academics, but I was doing three, four other things as well and good at everything.
Hmm.
That carried forward here when I had to do sport, manage sport and this both. Um, I am not a very social person, so I did not have anything outside of these two things.
Hmm.
Having said that, still the job was very hectic. Like I was working more than 12 hours every day,
Hmm.
and it did take a toll on my recovery. So what where I chose to compromise is recovery, which in hindsight I should not have.
Right.
So what I tried to maintain is how much I can train and how much I can work.
Hmm.
If you are maximizing both of these things, your sleep will reduce. The
Right.
time you spend on making nice meals for yourself will reduce,
Right.
right? So those two things, of course, went for a toss, and it started showing up about 5-6 months into my first job, right? Somewhere around May of 2020. Of course, Corona was happening at that time,
Yeah.
which was another very big factor for me.
Right.
Because I was then completely isolated and I chose to stay in Bangalore. I did not even go to my hometown in Delhi.
Hmm.
Just because I felt like I could train a bit better here. I did not have that infrastructure back at my home place. So I thought I'll just stay here, I'll work and I train till the time it resolves. Initially, when it happened in March, things were like, okay, it'll open back in month or two.
Yeah.
It never opened, then it got postponed to 3-4 months
Yeah,
more.
we were thinking it will be a week or two.
Yeah, exactly,
Right?
in the
It
beginning.
was like 2-3 days we'll be
Yeah,
working from home, and then we'll be.
yeah,
That 1 week became 2 weeks. That 2 weeks became 2 months, and
yeah.
it was like going on forever.
And
Yeah.
that I did not realize it at that time, but that isolation plus this overtraining, I mean, it was lack of recovery. Because of that, I was overtraining. Combined these two things, plus a lot of work stress, plus I was training hard. Everything combined together, and all hell went loose. in June of 2020, which is not June, around July or August, which is when I completely broke down and I had to leave my job. I was like mentally overwhelmed. I realized I cannot do it. I had to call it quits. Like I was at a peak point of finishing a project and doing some big things there. I had to
Right.
call it quits immediately, and it was a shock for everyone else also that how when everything is going so well and this guy is doing so good, how can he suddenly quit? But um, it was just not working out. I think I had gone into some stage of chronic fatigue, which is a weird term to use because I did not get it diagnosed properly. But that's what I can say and reflect back if I look back at it is something of that sort. So chronic fatigue syndrome, I don't know if you have heard of that,
Yeah.
but it's basically a term labeled on someone when they cannot actually diagnose them with something proper, right? So it's basically a state where you are fatigued, chronic. I mean, you are fatigued. You cannot do much.
You feel fatigued all the time,
All the time.
more or
You
less,
cannot
right?
do anything, let alone physical work. Anything mentally also is a sort of exhausting for you,
Right.
right? And there's no diagnosis for it, as in depression can be a part of it, but not really, and it continues for a very long time, even when things start going right. So that was my downfall. It happened in July. And yeah, I had to call it quits on everything, not just work. I had to stop my sport because if I would go out for a easy cycling ride, my heart rate would be close to my threshold, even cross the threshold.
Right.
So I realized this is not working out. Work is not working. What should I do? And everything went for a toss. That's when I decided I will just go back home because I needed some sort of stability in my life.
Right.
And even though the environment wasn't very favorable in terms of anything else, but I just needed that some fallback option for myself.
Right.
So I went home in around November, December of 2020 and
Hmm.
stayed there for like 4 or 5 months, not doing much in any kind of way, right?
Right.
Just living there because parents are there, they'll take care of you. And yeah, that was something very critical, and I realized that I am not invincible. That's the first time I realized that okay,
Right.
it's not that I can get away with anything I do with myself. I have a body and I have a mind, and it needs to be taken care of properly. Otherwise, if you push it too much, which in my case I can very easily,
Right.
just because that drive, right, to do something well,
Yeah.
and it can take you to the highest of highs or the lowest of lows, and in that case, call it the product of the situation or the combination of everything. But though that time the cards did not play well for me, and
Right.
I completely collapsed.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, funny that you should, bring up cards into that analogy, right? You are building basically a pack of
Right.
castle of cards,
Right.
right? You kept working in your startup, scenario 12 hours a day. You kept training, 3-4 hours a day kind of situation, and you kept stacking, basically
Right.
built a castle of cards. And the corona also came into the
Yeah.
picture, and the isolation, and everything, both physical fatigue and the mental fatigue, it just everything collapsed one fine day.
Yeah, it
and
was.
and yeah, it is a really really hard situation to be in. So how, and you went back home, how did you find your way back from there?
Right. So, as I said before, that I'm not a very social person. It had played to my advantage until that point, that I could live alone, I could be alone
Right.
all the time and completely dedicate myself towards my pursuits, right? But that time is the first time I figured out, okay, being completely isolated can, again, it's a double-edged sword,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
If things go wrong, if your mental state goes the other way, there's no one who can hold you back and bring you back.
Right.
And yeah, going home, I felt, sorry, I started feeling much better over the next few months. Then I think it was a very gradual process. It's not nothing like suddenly something will click and you will start running again carefree and start cycling, whatever you are doing, right?
Right.
Once something that big hits you, it is almost like a trauma that you have to overcome, and it takes a long time to get over, right? So yeah, I think I reduced a lot of things that I was doing. I mean, in terms of pace, not in terms of. I still had to work. I still had to train. I mean, but I made it very, very at a very low level in the beginning, right? I got another job because I had quit that one.
Right.
It was very tough, to be honest, because then people start questioning, right? Why did you leave your first job?
Right.
That too, such awkwardly, and they will not write a letter of recommendation for you
Right.
for sure.
Right.
So this is, I think, going more in the professional challenges of life, but I
Yeah.
think they are very closely linked with the sporting life as well.
Absolutely, right? Yeah.
Because yeah, that directly affects what you can do in the sport.
Correct.
And so it did take a while for me to figure out my new job, but luckily I did find some great guys to work with. That was my second company, and they were like very open-minded, right? About I told them clearly that why I actually left. Like I told them I had a breakdown at that time, and I could not take it anymore, and they understood that part.
Right.
And they chose to take a risk by getting me to start with them. And yeah, it took some time to get back into that groove of working again. First, I just introduced work, which is completely remote again because Corona time, right? Still,
Right.
21 was also a fully remote
Yeah.
culture. So I started working from my home in Delhi itself for a while, settled down into work first, started enjoying that normal things in life, that work talks, the Fridays we used to have some sort of remote challenges and etc. Right?
Right.
So doing the normal things in life for the first time
Right.
felt good for a change.
Right.
Slowly got back, and then April or May, I think May of 21, I decided to come back to Bangalore, restart with my training again because I really wanted to do it, and it felt like I'm finally feeling better. It is not back to the state I was. I definitely felt, and I felt it for a very long time, like maybe for the next 2 3 years. I felt like I could never reach the kind of fitness I was at before this whole thing happened, right? And maybe it was true, maybe it was not, but mentally in my mind I was always feeling that okay, I could look at back at my stats, right? My heart rate used to be this at running at this pace. I could never mentally recover for the next 2 3 years that I am still not where I used to be in terms of fitness. I achieved my peak fitness in that after Goa phase, like around that March.
Right.
But that was always haunting me. But again, I think what helped me just gradually moving, taking things slow. This time I did not stay alone. When I came to Bangalore, I got a place with my friend. So that helped. Again, I was not talking to him very often, but just having someone around you socially also helps.
Right.
It's like from complete isolation, anything is a step forward.
Correct.
So that really helped me. So I understood the physical, mental, and social elements. I have to work on all three, and that's what I have been doing for the next 2 3 years.
Nice, nice. And during this time, did you kind of, you know, uh, take part in any events, or were you just riding and running kind of thing?
Right. So in 2021, I don't remember actually if I don't think I took part in anything in 2021. 2022, I think I started uh, doing some events again. I definitely did the Ironman 70.3. I restarted doing 70.3s in 22. And first one I did was Malaysia, which is this coast. That was, I think, somewhere around August of 2022.
Right.
So from 2019, that was the last race in October. So maybe around 3 years later, I did my next one.
Right.
And before that, I did, I think, some BBCH races just to get back into that groove, right?
Right.
But yeah, 3 years is a long time to be doing something, and a lot happened in that time. And,
Right.
it just felt good to be back on a start line of something. I felt equally bad that I did not do well in that race, but I was happy that I had restarted.
Right. So how did that race itself go? When you say it went bad,
Yeah.
how did it go?
I mean, triathlon is such a complex sport, right? It takes a long time to figure out how to race it properly.
Right.
And even though if you might have figured it out in your training, your swim, your bike, your run, if putting it all together on race day is a it takes a long time for a lot of people,
Right.
including myself.
It's like people say, right? It is not a combination of three sports. It's a different sport.
Exactly.
You have to know all three individual sports, but triathlon is not knowing three
Right.
individual sports, differently. But
Right.
putting it together is a different beast and doing
It
it.
is for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It is like the feeling of running after a bike is like the worst feeling a first timer could feel, especially someone who has never done it.
Right.
And actually, what has happened over the time is now I feel better running off a bike.
Hmm.
But just because I've been doing that for 6 years,
Right.
I have become like trained for that.
Yeah.
That I will run decently after a bike, sometimes
Right.
even better.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, that was again, it was a race after 3 years. I had not been practicing that much.
Hmm.
So it was quite tough, especially the swim. Swim was gone for a toss because when I was in Delhi, I did not swim. So that has been like what, about 8-10 months of no swimming.
Right.
As a swimmer, as an adult swimmer who learned it just like 1 year ago, if you have a 8 to 10 month gap, you're basically back at point one, right?
Correct.
You have to learn it everything from scratch again.
Yeah.
And I did not put in enough time in swimming.
Hmm.
So it was like the worst feeling ever, like being in the sea. If you're not good at swimming, being in the sea can be quite challenging because in running and cycling, at least you can pause, or you can also see in the distance what things are happening. In the sea, when you're swimming and you're a bad swimmer, firstly, you will get stressed, you will panic, your muscles will start tiring out. You cannot pause that much, and you cannot see anything around you also because your face is always in the water. So the
Right.
only thing you are seeing is darkness.
Right.
So it becomes mentally challenging as well that you have gone off 900 meters, you have taken what, 25 minutes, something like that. And then you start going back and you cannot see the shore.
Right.
And what are you swimming towards? So it
Yeah.
becomes that mentally challenging aspect as well.
Hmm.
So that went not that great. The bike was fine, but then I took too much carbs in.
Hmm.
I got nauseous, and the run was like this the horrible feeling of running with a bloated stomach and always feeling that uneasy thing.
Hmm.
So I think overall it did not go very well,
Hmm.
but I was again just happy that I did something after a long time and I
Right.
have restarted. Like a lot of people during that Corona period, like I had my own fair share of struggles, but a lot of other people did not even cross that barrier and kept on doing the sport. I
Right.
know a lot of my friends who stopped doing triathlon after that period,
Right.
right?
Right.
And
Yeah, it was a challenging period for many, and a lot of us lost loved ones, or
yeah,
acquaintances, friends, and it was very challenging, mentally, yeah, as much as physically, right? To be isolated, to be seeing death at such a rate, at sometimes that's very close quarters. It was it was a challenging period for the entire world, and we are part of that world, and we experienced it, some at very varying degrees, but all of us did.
yeah,
And some of us, like, uh, were lucky enough to had the support system and people around to pull us through when we were down,
right,
and not everyone was that lucky,
right,
right? And we lost quite a few, some of our friends lost that spirit for the sport, that
right,
everything, right? That we tend to question, right, when you go through such a period. What is this? Why are we doing this? What is important? And all these kind of existential questions come in,
right.
right? Yeah, but glad that you were able to kind of push through and see the other end and get back to sport. But was it like, uh, in terms of performance itself, you felt terrible at the end of it, but in terms of time, Did it was it close to what you did in Goa, or
Yeah.
was it?
In Desert Coast, I think I had somewhere around 5:18. So
Mhm.
in terms of timing,
It was
it is
better
better.
than the
Yeah, but
some
the
9 minutes
course is
better.
different. Yeah, 9 minutes better. But again, the course is different,
Mm.
and I was just expecting like I did not achieve my peak fitness before Goa.
Right.
So I think I was very fit the 5 months after it,
Right.
which is like just before
The
the
breakdown
whole
and
thing started
everything.
happening.
Right.
So I had made a lot of improvement, in fact, in terms of all three sports,
Right.
and that's what I felt. Just I could not achieve once I started back.
Right.
So even though I was doing better, my equipment upgraded as well.
Mm.
So I got a new bike. I got some good
TT
fancy aero
bike and
bars. Not the TT bike at that time. It was a road bike only, but yeah, some equipment upgrade,
Right.
some nutrition upgrade.
Mm.
I was even working with a coach again.
Right.
So things were going in terms of having my support structure formed, plus just that aerobic fitness, something had built even though I had a long gap.
Right.
So I had improved in terms of timing and also in terms of how to train,
Mm.
but I just felt that I was not at that peak performance
Right.
even
Because
in 22.
being that that drive for you, being competitive
Yeah,
and expecting the best out of you each time,
yeah.
it always would mean that you are never almost never happy, right?
That is true for sure.
That's
I am, yeah. I
yeah.
don't think I've ever been very happy after
Right.
race. I think I was very happy after the duathlon
Right.
because I was not training at all though. There was no expectation this time.
Right. Right.
But yeah, anytime I go with at a race where I'm expecting myself to do well,
Hmm.
99% of the times I'm not fully satisfied. I
Right.
have, again, that has also evolved
Hmm.
over time, right? I
Right.
have started putting into perspective what truly matters
Hmm.
much more now.
Hmm.
Earlier, it was, I think, a naive approach of only results matter.
Right. Right.
I think that has also evolved over the
Hmm.
time.
Hmm. So how did that evolve? What do you consider matters more now?
I think a long term approach, a sustainable approach, is what matters more. And I have started seeing, uh, like, focusing on not just any one race, but consistency and improvement over the long period of time.
Hmm. Hmm.
And earlier, I could not accept if I falter in one race, right?
Right.
Even though if it did not matter much.
Hmm.
Like for example, I did one ITT. I think it was bar only or BBCH. I'm not sure, but it was like long time back, 22 or 23
Hmm.
beginning. January it was,
Hmm.
and it's
Then it must be bar.
okay.
Yeah.
Might have been. It was in OMR that
Right.
time.
Yeah.
So it is supposed to be an off season. It was in January,
Hmm.
right? We
Yeah.
just finished our main race, which is Goa for the year.
Right.
And I mean, technically, you should not have any high expectations of yourself.
Right.
But me being me, I just come in there and think I will beat all the cyclists in a TT.
Right.
And I came fourth, I think, that day
Hmm.
to all the state guys.
Right.
And yeah, I went into a very terrible mental space after that.
Right.
Even though it's supposed to be like just a fun day out.
Right.
I just could not take losses very well.
Hmm.
Over time, again, with a lot of help from a lot of people, plus just my own progression, I have come to realize the importance of taking, like, actually understanding the value of each race and putting things into perspective.
Right.
Like, what is actually an A, B, C race, and
Hmm.
not just races, even in training, right? If some things used to go wrong on a key session, like I'm not able to hold my power that has been recommended,
Hmm.
I would just be like a gloomy bird for the rest of the week.
Right.
And now I have started understanding myself better. I've started understanding the physiology better,
Hmm.
the concept, the sport science, the science of sport better.
Right.
And all those things have really helped me to understand key. Yeah, if I'm aiming for something big, that may come 10 years down the line,
Hmm.
right? Whatever goals I have set for myself, right? Because there are a lot of things that I have to do right now
Hmm.
to make sure that that happens. And things will go up and down. It's not gonna be,
Straight line.
yeah.
Right.
So just bear with it, have fun,
Hmm.
and having fun is also very important to get to that point.
Yeah.
If you're doing something for 10, 15 years, if you're not having fun along the way and you're sulking after every race, you're
Right.
not gonna last very long.
Right.
Motivation has carried me through a lot of things,
Hmm.
but if I can change that, it will I can actually save my energy and motivation for the right times than spending it sulking after a race.
Right. Right. Yeah. That is the that is what sport teaches us, right? That it is not just about one that goal, that destination, but the journey itself.
Right,
As cliched as it may sound, it is not about the destination but the journey itself, right?
right,
If you for example, take a sport, take an event like Goa 70.3. You have the race in August, November, whenever, and you have signed up for it in January, right? With the entire year you are training towards that. That day will go by like this, but the days leading up to it, whatever 250 days or 200 days or whatever, how many ever days that you have started, set your eyes on it and started training for it, unless you enjoy all that, what does that mean, right? You doesn't mean anything if you don't enjoy the journey. It just means, if I will be happy when,
right.
if that is the mindset, it is going to be a very very hard
Yeah,
hard life,
it is.
because that when might happen or might not happen. There are so many uncontrollables. There are very few things that you can control in life, and even those can go awry, right?
Right,
So I will be happy when is not a very uh, you know right way to live.
correct.
That's when you say, I'm happy now, I'm working towards this. That's the lesson that sport teaches us, I guess,
Yeah,
at the end of the day. And as as it is, it can be as practical as it is, as spiritual as you want to look at it, but that is the essence that the sport can teach us.
right, for sure. I
So
think there's a slight nuance to this though,
mm,
that I think this advice should be given to a certain kind of people, and the opposite advice should be given to the other opposite kind, because there are people like us, right,
yeah,
who are competitive and who want to achieve things, and their mindset will always be towards results.
right,
For them, this works very well,
yeah,
that you should probably enjoy. But then there is what I'm figuring now. There is this huge population on the other side
right.
who is not doing enough. And for them, I think the advice should be a slightly different, saying
Yeah.
probably work a little bit more.
But enjoy, but
And
also work a little
they
bit
enjoy a
more.
bit too much.
Right. The idea is to enjoy the work,
Right.
right? Just काम करो,
Yeah.
but enjoy that
Enjoy the
enjoy
yeah.
that karma, right?
Yeah.
But it's
Don't
not.
forget the work. Some people just enjoy.
That's the thing, right? Whatever Gita says, do the work
Right.
and leave the result. It doesn't say leave the work,
Leave the work.
right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Very, very, very true. So, what was your best race so far, you would think?
Best race is in terms of what? In terms of
In
timing or
Yeah,
experience?
so exactly, that's a good point you asked. So what was your best race in terms of your experience, your feeling and all that, and what was it in terms of performance and result?
Right.
There can be two different things.
Actually, there are more than two, because the first one,
Hmm.
which is in terms of experience, right? So, in terms of experience of how I felt throughout the day, it will be my fastest one. So those two are actually the same,
Hmm.
which was Bahrain.
Mhm.
So I finished there in 4 hours 31 minutes. There was a Vietnam race which was, so the swim was shortened there, so the timing there was lesser than that, but a full 70.3 distance. I have done it faster than Bahrain in 4 hours and 31 minutes. And that was also the race where I felt best in terms of feeling strong throughout the day, through the whole sport, right?
Right.
I felt in control, I felt I felt confident about myself. I was not breaking down at any point of the run. Like, that was probably my best executed run in a race. It was very, very controlled. Like, I hit exactly the paces I wanted. I even negative split in terms of effort. I think by pace, it was very similar, both the first and the second half.
When
But
was this?
this is end of 2023.
Hmm.
So 2023 is when I started getting my mojo back.
Right.
So, and it all culminated with this, which I am like super proud of right now. But in terms of experience, I would say it is always the first one.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You just cannot beat that experience of finishing something that you don't know you can do, right?
Correct.
Because timings can get better. Maybe there will come a day where I might surprise myself with the timing also that I do.
Right.
But just the fact that I did not know one day before that race that will I be able to do all three, this distance, the 2 kilometer swim, 90K bike, 21K run, one after the other in a Goa heat and humidity.
Right.
And one day later, I have the answer to that. Like, there, nothing can beat that experience.
Yeah,
I
for
would
sure. For sure.
I walked the run course,
Right.
and it felt terrible to be in that race. But just crossing that finish line is something like surreal for me.
Right. So even the toughest of races, right? You might be beating yourself up during the thing. Why did I sign up? Why am I doing this? And questioning you every bit of yourself. But once you cross that
Right.
barrier, that finish line, right? That there is no explaining that feeling. That
It is, yeah, it is unexplainable. I
Right.
think, I mean, like, it is an emotional blank. At least for me, it was that way. In the first time I did it, of course, it is truly overwhelming, right? You have a lot of joy, you have a lot of pain.
Right.
You are crying, you are smiling, you are doing a lot of things. And yeah, you cannot explain that. And I remember clearly that I finished 5.5 hours. Most people were finishing around 7 to 8 hours, right?
Right.
I just finished my race and they gave me the towel, the medal, everything. And then I just sat there with the photographers, like the ones who were standing at the finish line. They were right in front of that. And I found my spot and I just sat there for the next 3 hours watching everyone cross that line, because everyone was so different in the approach they get to that point. Some people are dancing, some people are doing push ups, some people are crying like I have never heard before. Right? Like, I mean, it was big for me, but I've definitely felt it is much bigger for that person.
Right.
Just because they are like so overwhelmed, like they're hugging their family
Yeah.
right before the line and just completely breaking down,
Right.
having felt that. So it was really great just
That experience itself
just
is
witnessing the 500 athletes that came after me finish that. It was great.
amazing. So let's go there. That Bahrain to 2023 race, the
Yeah.
day that went perfectly.
Not perfect.
Close.
Close.
They're close to
Close to.
as close to perfect as at that point of
Yeah.
time, right? What was the how did it go in terms of training leading up to that, and how was the execution on that day?
Right. So again, I will intertwine it with my professional life because that is half of the story, right?
Yeah.
So I had switched jobs again, and this time I moved to a US-based company. Again, completely remote.
Right.
So I was working from India, but that helped me like immensely, right? Firstly, of course, I was getting paid much more because it is in dollars now.
Right.
So that helped me a lot just to be financially independent. And that gave me a lot of luxury to take on things or work on things, upgrade my stuff in terms of sport as well. So I got my TT bike also, I think in 23 only. Yeah, I think 22 or 23, right?
Right.
And that time. So yeah, things were going great, much better than before, because also I could now work in the evening hours. So my entire daytime was free for me.
Right.
I could train from morning to evening whenever I wanted.
Hmm.
And I would generally work in the late hours. But again, they were very careful with and considerate about my own schedule in life, that
Right.
they'll not make me keep up after 11 p.m. also.
Right.
So it was a very, very ideal life, I would say. If you want to be an athlete, that is literally the best.
Right.
So that helped me a lot. The second thing that was going on in terms of sporting side was I was having a coach, working with them for a long time. I think it had been a year and a half.
Right.
And things were going great. So again, this was all in India and the Indian coach.
Yeah.
And things were going great. But one thing was not doing that well was I was again overtraining a bit. And I was getting injured again in the same run injury. It used to come back to my psoas. I was having time off from running quite significantly for long periods of time.
Right.
So that was always hampering my fitness and what I could achieve in those 2022 to 23 block.
Right.
And just I think 2 months before Goa, some things changed and we decided to go with a UK based coach after that.
Right.
So we stopped working there, moved here, and I did not expect something drastically different to happen, but it did happen actually.
Right.
It was a very small cue or a series of small cues that he gave. He just firstly he looked at all my past data, whatever he could fetch for the last 2-3 years. And then he started asking me questions about how you are going about the race, because Goa race was happening in about 2-3 weeks from then. So not a very ideal time to switch coaches, but it just so happened that way. And yeah, he just gave some cues, and suddenly he told me something about nutrition. Like I was always taking 110 to 120 grams, trying that because at that time that was the fad in the whole triathlon scene, at least.
Right.
I don't know about cycling, but
Yeah.
people were just going bonkers with how much carbs they're ingesting. And yeah, literally everyone was trying to do that because the pros were doing it. And if they are doing it, it must be right?
Right.
And they are taking 120 grams an hour. So I was also told to take that, right? Because I mean, if you look at it from outside a layman point of view, the more energy you can take in, the more you can use for burning it, right? And I was always getting nauseous, but I never pinpointed it, or no one helped me pinpoint it to that, right? And he just came in and he said, look, that 120 grams, firstly, they are of the school of thought that low carb, high fat fuel is better. Anyways, so this is basically Dan Plews is the coach of Chelsea Sodaro. She was the Ironman world champion.
Right.
So he runs a brand called Endure IQ. So we were working with a coach from that group, and he just said, stick to 90 grams an hour. You will actually do better. I'm like, does not make sense.
Right.
How can that happen? Like, if I take less, how will I go faster? And I did that, and in that 2023 Goa, that's the first time I ever cracked sub 5 in a 70.3. Before that, I was trying really hard. I think I already had the fitness for it as well.
Right.
But just because this thing was happening, that I would always get nauseous or something will happen, I would never run to my full potential. And yeah, he even said, don't take a gel before the race, like 15 minutes before a race. If you ask anyone, 99% of the population will say,
We'll do that.
Why will you not take a gel? I mean, you are racing for so long, you would want to have a lot of energy with you, right?
Right.
Said, forget the gel. Your body needs to, if you take the gel, you will have a sugar spike. You will crash after 40 minutes. Your race is 5 hours long. What you want to have is a sustained build of glucose in your body. You should not spike it right now. Let your body get to that higher state of glucose in your blood. Then you start fueling on the bike. Like, okay, let's try that. Worst case, I'm gonna flunk, which I was not expecting a lot, to be honest, at that time. But yeah, just that, and it changed everything. I felt much better in that race, like strong from the start to the finish. And yeah, just a few more clicks changes he made. I finished that race super strong. felt like really, really good. I had cracked sub 5, and only a few people can do that in Goa, especially, right?
Yeah.
Hardly like 10 people now. Before it
Right.
used to be 5, 6, 7 guys
Right.
who are cracking sub 5.
Hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I think this coach is working. Let's just do exactly what he says.
Hmm.
Let's not question. I will just understand.
Hmm.
So he made a few more changes from that Goa to Bahrain, which was around 2 months or 1.5 months of time.
Hmm.
And yeah,
What were
it
those
just
changes?
so changing the way I was fueling for my sessions.
Hmm.
Also changing the nature of my sessions in terms of how high intensity I was doing, right? So I was told you I was getting injured quite a lot.
Right.
He reduced my running intensity by a huge margin. I was doing a lot of volume. So I started hitting 70K plus on the runs every week, but in the triathlon training, which is quite a lot, but everything was zone 2. Like I did not do a single hard session from the Goa race to the Bahrain race. It was all zone 2. Like generally, I mean, again, right, very, very odd concept that if you're training for a hard race, you would want to do a tempo run or a interval run or something
Right.
hard, right, to
Yeah.
get the feel of that race pace, etc.
Yeah.
His concept was, you already know that, boss, how to race.
Right.
You have done it so much. You need to focus on the right things. You need to be injury free, and you need to build a lot of volume, right? I just did that, and yeah, I had my best race ever. He also, I mean, there were a few more changes, like he did the profile testing from that inside method.
Hmm.
We figured my VLA max is high, so he made some small changes, but I feel like the biggest change was this run part and the nutrition part leading up to that Bahrain race. Just
Nice.
staying injury free, still having a lot of run volume,
Hmm.
plus doing the nutrition strategy right.
Right. It is interesting, right? The nutrition strategy. If we kind of go a little bit into that,
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, even now, the pros, uh, like you said, 120 grams per hour. Uh, it used to be like 60 grams per hour kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then it went 90, 120, and this guy who recently broke the Ironman course
Yeah.
record did 200
Right.
grams per hour or something. It's like crazy, going bonkers with this thing,
Yeah.
right? But you also have to understand that the kind of carbs that they are using have this combination of sucrose and fructose, glucose and fructose kind
Yeah.
of combination, which are supposed to be absorbed by different parts of the system, the stomach. That will kind of enable you to absorb more without feeling that nausea and stuff like that. One thing. And another thing is that we are not, I think in India we don't have gels that have that kind of combination yet. I don't
So
know.
Unified has
Right?
the right combination,
Okay.
but
The
I think the nuances are much more deeper than just those
the
things,
the
right?
how the body is,
Yeah.
like he was mentioning the sugar spike and the the
Yeah.
fall after that 40 minutes or whatever, all these things. Yeah, I mean, that particular setup, the Endure IQ, I think is big on
Yeah. Low.
low carb, high
Right.
fat kind of
Yeah.
training, right? Also 80-20 kind of
Mm.
method, and focusing more on low intensity and a few high intensity sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of ways to skin the cat, but it is all about figuring out what works for you
Exactly.
also.
I think
Yeah.
that's the key part,
Hmm.
that what works for one may not work for the other.
Right.
I think first part is that,
Hmm.
and just, I mean, this concept worked for me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I cannot discredit that people are taking that and it should be working for them, right? If
Hmm.
someone is taking 120 to 200
Right.
grams.
Right. Yeah.
But I think the caveat with pros is they're also burning that much more,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
They are putting out 300 plus watts for 4 hours.
Yeah.
They are running at 3
And they
something
are,
pace.
yeah, and
So they're,
sometimes they are going day after day, continuously with that kind of load.
even, yeah, in training and in racing, both,
Right.
their energy consumption will be super high.
Right.
And the other caveat is they do a lot of gut training as well, which is not
Exactly.
everyone is born. I mean, everyone will have a different capacity of how much these things they can tolerate, right? Some people, I still know a lot of pros who are doing 60 to 90 grams and still are world ranked
Right.
triathletes.
Exactly.
But that does not mean like I cannot say that this is wrong and that is right.
Correct.
It is working for them, so they are doing that.
Hmm.
It is working for this person, so they are doing this.
Like the what you said, right? Gut training. That is
Yeah.
something that we overlook.
Yeah.
Okay, I will use this much in the race,
Yeah,
but
but
not
yeah,
in training.
exactly.
Right? Then you are not training your gut to get there.
And
right?
they focus a lot on it.
Yeah.
Again, those things have not arrived in India yet, the knowledge of how to, etc. Right? So again, things we want to change in the next few years. But yeah, it is a thing that people actually put a lot of their head into. They are full, like so many brands just built around that concept
Right.
of how to maximize the amount of things you can absorb in your gut. And yeah, 200 was not happening. I'm sure they have worked their way up to that mark
Yeah.
over the last 3, 4, 5 years.
For sure. Yeah. So the race itself, how did you end up executing it?
You mean the Bahrain one?
The Bahrain one.
I think the plan there was to keep myself calm and steady. And that's probably the period where I formed a mantra for myself, or I think I heard it somewhere, I don't remember, but it's basically go easy until kilometer 10 of the run. So from the beginning of the swim to kilometer 10 of the run, which is basically your 95% of the race,
Right.
go easy. If you are feeling fine at that point, which most likely you will be not, even if you do it that way, then you increase the pace.
Right.
So I think that was the concept that time. I do have that, again, competitiveness. So I swim a bit aggressively and faster than most people would. I try to take the direct lines. I try to spot the right people in the swim to draft off of, because that's a big part. Again, there are so many tactics that you can play in the whole sport. Again, everything is legal.
Right.
But if you do those things right, you can actually perform much better than people would think you would. In fact, I don't think I am one of the fittest guys still in the ecosystem, but what I feel is I am probably one of the smartest in terms of my execution. And also one more thing is my mental resilience. The amount of pain I can tolerate, I feel is generally on the higher end, right? So these two things combined puts me in the top positions in a lot of races.
Right.
So even there, I just took the right lines. I found the person. So in a field of 100 people swimming around you, to spot the right person who is going slightly faster than you, and you can hang on to their feet and you trust that person that they will swim the right direction.
Right.
I found that person that day. Swam quite nicely. Again, not very fast. I have become much faster now. I swam 35 minutes that year, which was very big for me because I had never swam close to 35 before that.
Right.
Right. I was always around 39, 40-ish mark.
Right.
So swimming a 35 was a big win for me. Came out, felt super good. Went on the bike. The bike course there was, I mean, it's been always been one of the flat and good tar roads. So good course for a PB, I would say. Yeah, I think it was mostly fine until kilometer 50. I was holding my line and I was not worrying about anyone because there were only a few people that were like slower than me who were ahead of me after the swim, but I was just passing them until kilometer 50. Everything was going well. Then suddenly I got to a group which was drafting at that time in the race and not legally. Like they were like, and that's a big problem in age group racing in triathlons, especially because it is not very well monitored and they don't give out cards that easily for people who are doing that. So anywhere, especially in the European scenarios or people where people are competitive, right? You would see a lot of drafting happening there. Big groups get formed and they just go and I don't feel that is the right thing to do. In fact, in Goa, I haven't seen that a lot. But once I went to these areas, that's when I started seeing all this. And when I got to them, of course, I passed them. and then they all came back and stayed with me.
Right.
And they are not going away. They are like, I would surge a little bit, but they, of course, if you are drafting, you cannot really get away that easily.
Right.
And they would sometimes then overtake, then you would be somewhere around that group. So that was happening, and I was getting really annoyed and pissed at what people were doing.
It'll throw off your pacing as well, right?
Yeah, it throws you off completely, because then they overtake you, right? Because they have been drafting, they have been saving energy, and sometimes they will surge and overtake someone.
Right.
And then you don't want to be in their draft. So you will go behind, but then other 100 people will go in their draft.
Right.
So it's basically very frustrating when that happens. After I think about 5-10 kilometers, one of the referees came, and then he started making sure that everyone's spread across. That's finally when I got away and got back into my rhythm and my mental peace, I would say.
Right.
It's more mentally disturbing than actually physically,
Right.
of having so many people doing random stuff around. So after that, it was quite smooth, I would say. I finished my bike, went off to the run. I started my run very fast because I was feeling very good. I didn't realize I'm going very fast based on my own abilities. I was running somewhere 340s to 50s, which I don't think I had the ability at that time to hold. So when I looked at my watch, I'm like, boss, no. You have
what
not
happened to that?
What happened to the
easy
plan?
thing?
I mean, I was feeling easy in my head,
Right.
but that adrenaline in the beginning of the run just carries you over. So I had to look at my watch and say, okay, this is not easy. Actually, you are just feeling it right now. It will bite you in the end.
Yeah.
So I slowed down, got into my rhythm, which was around 4:10 pace, 4:10 to 15. And yeah, I stayed there. A lot of people passed me in the beginning because of that same high that they would have also gotten.
Yeah.
But then I caught them back on lap 2, lap 3, and that's how I was realizing, okay, I think everything is going good. The nutrition was on spot, and yeah, it was like one of the best races I've ever executed. The course, of course, was very good, but in terms of execution, I don't think I've ever gotten better than that. Like everything, including nutrition, hydration, pacing, all things fell in place.
Nice, nice. So in terms of nutrition, how were you taking those 90 grams of carb per hour?
Yeah, so mostly Unimed. I have been a Unimed user for a long time, and those products just work with me. For some people, it doesn't. That's why it's a very individual in terms of nutrition, like what works with you and what doesn't. So you have to figure out which brand is for you. But for me, Unimed has been working quite well, and I use their drink mix, which is something you can mix in with your water. So it becomes like an energy drink for you, and then their gels, so a mix of them. Generally, I rely more on the drink mix for the bike because it's just easy to hydrate and fuel at the same time.
Right.
Much harder to grab a gel on the bike and have it.
Yeah.
So drink mix for the most of it, and on the runs, I carry the smaller gels because it is around 25 grams of carbs, and you would want to have your dosage in shorter. I like to have it in shorter amounts.
Right.
So they have two options. One is 25, one is 45. I don't like to have that big one in one shot.
Yeah.
I just take the small ones, about 3 or 4 of them on the run, but then they have a lot of cola and some sugary items on the aid stations.
Right.
So a mix of these gels along with those cola is something that works really well.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Right. So how that is probably, is it still your PB, that 431?
Yeah, unfortunately it is. I have not broken it yet. I was hoping to break it last year, but a lot of things happened.
Last year, Goa,
and then the other race as well after that. Goa, I was not trying to hit a PB, I was trying to win. But I will come to that.
Right, right. So yeah, I mean, I was there last year, and I mean, watching the race, not participating, God forbid. But what happened there?
Yeah, so it's a long story. I think every year is a very long story, and its own sets of ups and downs, right? So 2024 was supposed to be my peak, right? I was feeling great. I was training the most. In fact, if I look back at my training log, I've averaged for the whole year 15 hours per week, which is quite a lot. I think it's about 700 to 800 TSS per week. And yeah, that's really good. thinking about all the downtimes and the week offs that I take after the race anyways. So even accounting for that, right? So training was like at an all-time high. On the professional side, I had switched my job again, but it was still in the US time zone, so working great, right? And now we were working with this coach from UK. So everything was set in place for me to get the maximum out of myself. Um, my first race was Vietnam, that this 2024, which the swim got shortened because of like huge tides and waves.
Right.
So it was only about 700 meters. That too, most people could walk that because it was only waist deep.
Right.
So that got finished in 11 minutes, somewhere around that, for everyone, not just for me. Right. And I did well because I was not super fit at that point of time. I had picked up another injury again because of my excitement. In the beginning of the year, I had ran too fast in a trail run in the BMF trail and gotten that psoas pain again. So as a result, I had not been running for the first few months of 2024. I went to Vietnam, not expecting much, but swim got shortened, performed decently. Better in terms of fitness compared to last year for sure. So I had done Vietnam 1 year before as well. Did quite well, and I finished on podium in Vietnam there in the age group.
Oh, nice.
So which was a huge surprise, and I felt okay, the momentum is set. Every year my momentum had been like the first few months were down, and then I slowly picked back up by the end of the year. That's how the trajectory had been. This year also felt like something similar is happening. First few months I was injured. Vietnam started picking up. Then my next race was France, which was Les Sables. And this is also very interesting. The conditions in Europe is very, very different from what we experience in Asia.
Right.
In terms of weather first, it's like super cold. Just something you are not used to if you have not been there. Like you're not used to working out in a cold environment. So actually, I had first gone to the European environment in 2023 World Champs in Finland. And my race actually got destroyed because of the weather. What happened is it started raining in Finland in 11 degrees when I was on the bike. Everyone had passed. Mine was the last age group. And I, being an Indian, of course, I'm not used to that cold, and I did not expect it to be that bad. In fact, all I had heard till that point was, if you are the ideal temperature to work out is 6 to 10 degrees,
Right.
which is true. But if you have if you're coming from 30 degrees, there needs to be some acclimatization protocol.
Yeah.
The day, I mean, it was 3 days before the race when we came there, and I was shivering anyways. But I thought, what will happen? On the bike, it started raining, and I froze. I literally froze. I was shivering uncontrollably. I could not do anything. A lot of people actually stopped and they got the space jackets and they DNF'd that day. It was the closest I have been to, like, I felt like dying on the race actually.
Wow.
Because your hands are frozen and you're on a bike going at whatever 30 km/h or whatever.
Yeah.
And you have no control over the bike. Everything is numb. You are shivering. You are just feeling like shit. And I have seen heat. I have seen 45 degrees heat in Vietnam. That is a beast in itself, but this was like worse than the heat, I would say.
Right.
Like being frozen is much worse than being overeating on a course,
Right.
because you can stop there. Here, if you stop, you actually feel even worse.
Yeah.
You get even more cold, right?
Right.
So that was very bad. So I took that lesson from Finland. Before coming to France, I took a lot of ice baths in India.
Yeah.
I did a lot of cold showering, basically mentally also preparing myself and physically preparing myself for the cold.
Right.
And it did turn out to be very cold. It rained there also in that day. What happened was, before the race day, everything was fine with my bike. Just before the check-in, one of my screws, the brake screw, fell off.
Oh.
And I did not know about it. I had tracked my bike. I come out of the swim, very fast swim it was. It was a slightly downstream swim, so I finished in 29 minutes that time.
Wow.
Which was like a PB by 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So I was like super happy. I was like, okay, today looks like a good day for me. I'm feeling good. But then I come out on the bike and my front brake is not working. It's like gone. There's no solution to it because the screw only has fallen. It's not like something which a mechanic also might have.
Right.
So I am riding in the French countryside roads, which is
hills.
again rolling hills,
Yeah.
one laner with 1,000 Europeans on that course. Plus it is raining and it is super windy.
Wow.
I did the whole race. I don't know how. It was again, I think I will never do it again if I had the choice in my life.
Right.
Because it was super risky. Like
Hmm.
you are taking 90-degree turns, 270-degree turns, and your one brake is missing, which is your main brake, the front
Yeah.
one. If you
Yeah.
only press the rear brake at a high speed, it will skid, if you
Right.
know that. And I was skidding in literally every turn. I was skidding nearly coming into someone. I had to figure out if there is some turn coming, slow down much before
Right.
and all that. Still, I did that. So crazy experience, I would say.
Hmm.
Managed to finish it without any injuries or without falling down. There were 2 times when I came very close to someone while skidding, but still managed it.
Right.
So I felt very confident about my bike handling skills, but not about my mental state of
Right.
going ahead with the whole race without a break in that conditions.
Yeah.
But yeah, the run was quite brutal, and I finished around 4:40 that time.
Hmm.
Happy with the result. Didn't get my PB because the bike course was tough. It was my brakes had failed and it was slightly longer also.
Hmm.
Didn't get my PB, but was super happy with where I was supposed to be at in June of some year, right? Because the
Right.
main season is in Goa and
Right.
later that year. So after France, we went to the paradise of cycling, which is Mallorca.
Hmm.
Stayed there for a month because I remote work remotely.
Right.
Everything was fine. That was again one of the best times of my life because I don't know if you've been to Mallorca or not, but every cyclist or triathlete should once
Yeah.
if they can in their life.
Yeah. A lot of
It
pros
is
train there, and it's
yeah,
like a cycling heaven.
a
Yeah.
lot of places in Europe, but Mallorca is like another beauty.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
a lot of learnings from that phase has actually come to what we are building now in Ultra, but
Hmm.
I'll come to that later.
Hmm.
But that was a very nice phase. We trained there for 1 month, almost every day we were training quite intense,
Right.
intense, and gained a lot of volume. I was hitting 20, 22, 23 hours, which I had never done before in my life. Like
Right.
I have been on the low volume side always. Like 15
Yeah.
to 20 hours is the max I could handle.
Right.
That time we started hitting 21, pushing the boundaries, right?
Mhm.
21, 22, 23. And felt super fit. Then we came back from Mallorca to India. It hit us very hard.
Hmm.
In that sense, we had been in Europe for nearly 2 months.
Hmm.
And the whole cultural shift, the pollution, etc., right?
Hmm.
We just could not bear it anymore in the sense that if sport is your main thing in life, it just felt like a downgrade in terms of environment where to train.
Right.
And we just decided in a week that we cannot be here. Let's pack up and leave.
Hmm.
And we went to Thailand, which is Phuket.
Right.
So they have a very nice sports center there
Hmm.
called Tanyapura.
Hmm.
And it is a world-class level thing,
Right.
right? Even if it is Asia, I had never seen something that amazing in terms of sports facilities in my life.
Yeah.
Right? It is almost like a European level facility in Asia.
Hmm.
And we figured out how to stay around nearby, and we stayed there until before Goa, right? So our plan was we'll stay there, we'll train from there, and come down to Goa like 1 week before the race,
Hmm.
and do the race, and then go back to Thailand. Then we had one more race planned, which is Busselton in Australia in December.
Hmm.
So we finished the whole block. It was like a mix of heat prep because Asia, anywhere in Asia is super hot, but Thailand is like very similar to Goa.
Correct.
So it was a mini heat block plus very good facilities, so good place to train. But unfortunately, I think the stress was too high at that time on the body just from the travel back to India. Then we basically left our house. I had a house rented in Bangalore. So we had to sell everything off, and the stress from traveling from there to Thailand. Then we were starting Ultra also at that time. The stress of, I had quit my job now. So August last year is when I quit my job, which was the final one, the remote one, because we wanted to start building Ultra.
Right.
So everything was happening at the same time, and unfortunately, I think the stress got very high on the body, not just the training, but work stress, traveling stress, etc.
Right.
And I think I caught something on the way from Thailand to Goa, like
Right.
some bug on the flight, because I was fine until Thailand.
Hmm.
As soon as I came to Goa, one day I was fine. The next day I got a cold or something in my throat
Right.
and started feeling weak, etc. Right? So not that great.
Yeah.
That time I knew, like, I think it has all been for a waste. And mentally, of course, it hits you hard, right? Because again, you have trained
Yeah.
so hard and tried to do what you thought was right for achieving peak performance here,
Right.
but you made some mistakes which you
Mhm.
did not account for. In our case, it was too much stress of this and that, like travel and work,
Right.
etc.
Yeah.
I think we would have been better off staying in India and just training till Goa. But we decided that time, and of course, nothing can change at that time.
Right.
But it hit me hard 3 days back. I was still trying to keep positive, see if it was not very bad that I was outright sick, but it was just bad enough that I knew I could not do any intensity. If I do anything, my body is not strong enough.
Right.
So Saturday came, I was still not feeling super recovered. I was feeling okayish. So decided to start the race and see how I feel. Like things have changed before as well. Like before Bahrain, actually, I had gotten sick for a week. I had got a cold. So 1 week was off, but I wasn't confident then. But Bahrain turned out to be the best thing ever for me.
Right.
So I was like, okay, let's give it a try. Something can change still.
Right.
Your body is a mysterious thing in how it works. We will just go out and give it a try. I just got in the water in Goa. Like I started in the first 2-3 rows, I think, first 2-3 waves, and immediately as I got in first 200 meters, I was out of breath, feeling short of air, and getting like really, really weak and dizzy. And yeah, that's when I knew my race is over. I don't think I can do it. I came out of the water still very fast in like 34 minutes for me, even after feeling like really shitty, which gave me a hint that had I been feeling very good that day, I was actually in contention for the win.
Right.
And that's what I was aiming for, right?
Yeah.
Even though, like, I think Nihal wasn't there this year.
Correct.
But I think Bishwajit and some other guys were
Vishwajit and
there.
others were there. Yeah.
Yeah. But I felt confident that if I could do somewhere around 430 to 440, I will be in contention for getting at least the podium, right?
Right.
And that's what I was aiming for. The whole training was built around that, and I was hitting the numbers I was supposed to hit to get there, right? I was training in Thailand, and I had done a 5K at or the whatever training was supposed to be done to make sure that will be the desired outcome.
Right.
But yeah, unfortunately, that day did not work out. I came out of the water, sat down for 3-4 minutes, still walked to the transition. Then a lot of people came, went past me. I was just looking and just feeling miserable. Aishwarya then came. She said, "Okay, just why don't you just get up and start cycling? Maybe something might change." I then went along with her. Initially, I tried, but again, it was not working out. I
Right.
realized after 10-20 kilometers that I cannot push. Like I can finish maybe.
Hmm.
Maybe I can finish the whole race, but I will not get anything out of it. In fact, I might do a lot of damage to myself
Right.
in trying to complete it with dealing with a bug while.
Right.
So I decided to pull the plug after one lap. And yeah, that was it. That was the end of my Goa race.
Yeah, I mean, so lot can go right, and something like that can, throw you off.
A small
like
bug
a small bug.
that you can't even see,
Right.
and that just can take away everything.
Right. You got to, I mean, there are so many things, like we were saying, right? There are so many things that are not in your control, that we can plan for a lot of things, but something can come
Yeah,
and
for
throw
sure.
you off. But you got to be resilient enough to kind of, pick yourself up and keep going.
Right.
Excellent. But that's what I see you are doing. Now, talking about ultra, right? Building ultra. Now you have, after working remotely and training, now the work side has become something that you become a startup yourself, right? That
Yeah.
after working in so many startups, that you
Yep.
are you started this coaching outfit for guiding triathletes called Ultra, right? So talk
Yeah.
about that. What's the vision and how is it going with that?
Right. So The concept of ultra came to us somewhere around mid 2024. So it has been a year since we thought about it. We always wanted to do something for the sport that we really love, right? We have been doing this for a long time. I have been doing it for 6 years now. And uh, yeah, the thought of doing something was for a long time. Last year, what changed is our trips to the European nations. Yeah. And even Australia, like after Goa, we went to Australia. Um, what we saw different, right? We had worked with our the coach from UK, right? So we already knew the knowledge gap existed between what's available here versus what is happening on the global scale. Even not just talking about the top tier coaches, but even at a lower level, the kind of attention to detail, the thought that goes behind making the plans, right? Thinking about not just your swim, bike, run if you're doing a triathlon, but making it about a holistic approach. Making sure your nutrition is right, your strength program is right, or whatever your imbalances are, you have to fix that. So a lot of those things were missing. Not just speaking about in general, but even from my own experience, because I had worked with a few people in India in the past, right? So the knowledge gap was a big thing. The next big part that actually made us start Ultra was the cultural gap, right? We were staying in Australia. Another quick bit for you. And we were in an Airbnb. And the owner of that Airbnb was an 85-year-old lady.
Wow.
And she was running it all by herself. Like she had been the one coordinating everything from the beginning, right? And one day our microwave broke in our Airbnb. And I told her, I was expecting, okay, maybe she might fix it maybe 1 month later or whatever. I was not expecting it to get fixed for us. Next day, she drives herself to the mart. She buys a microwave. She gets it herself, not with anyone's help. 85-year-old lady with a stooge. Like she cannot walk straight. She has a stand, but she did all that herself.
Wow.
And she brought the microwave and she calls me and says, hey, the microwave is in the car. Just pick it up. I cannot bring it. If I didn't have a stooge, I might have put it inside and installed also.
Right.
But you can just put it yourself. And that is just one small example of the cultural gap that exists between us and what's happening outside, right? In India, at 60 years old, start thinking about retirement.
Right.
And start thinking about their kids gonna take care of them.
Right.
And their life begins at 60. It is actually the party or the fruits of the labor that they have done before, right? And she threw a party for her friends for the New Year that time.
Nice.
And we were like not going anywhere, and they are like having a Christmas and New Year party. And yeah, so it is just about like how you think about yourself, right? And the society as well. And sport is just a part of their lifestyle. It is not something that they do for competition or for gaining accolades or for like any monetary sources, right? I mean, that's also a part of the elite and professional sports. But everyone is just fit and doing some sort of activity there, which I think we have lost. And we just don't think about that anymore. Like if I go out at 12 p.m. and start running in Cubbon Park, I will get stares from literally everyone. Firstly, I'll be the only one running. There will be no one who will be doing anything that crazy. And yeah, people will just not understand what you are doing and think of you as something different. And we wanted to change that aspect, the thinking. So Ultra has been born with that vision to change the way endurance sport is in our country, right? To revolutionize the endurance sport space. So that is our big vision. What we started off with is something which we were already familiar with, which is triathlon and run coaching. So right now we are doing one-on-one coaching for triathletes and runners, especially people who are working busy with their lives, figuring out how to manage that aspect with this, right? Because I have gone through the whole journey myself.
Right.
And Aishwarya has gone through the same thing in her own corporate side.
Right.
So that's where we are starting from. and yeah, let's see where we go.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it is important to kind of, there is a huge gap. There, and we are a country of 1 billion people. Although, the percentage of people who are active and pursuing sport is less, but it is improving.
Yep.
With the things like Ironman coming into India now, High Rocks is something that is coming big,
Right.
and running has already picked up
Yeah.
huge in a huge way. So although when you look at put all of these together, all of us together, still the percentage is very very minuscule, but still, because we are that percentage is of a very very big number, still a huge number, right?
Mm.
And the demand is there, the number of people who are um, starting out is increasing day by day, and the guidance, the right guidance is, number of people who are providing this guidance is very very less,
Right.
right? So there is definitely a huge gap. So it is great to see people like you, taking this up as a full-time endeavor and pursuing this, going in the right direction, and guiding the people in the right way is very very important for the sport to grow, for the, and the whole ecosystem to rise, right? The
For sure.
standards to rise. So, all great, man, all the very best for the journey with ultra and your personal endurance journey as well. What are
Mhm.
some of the tips that you would give, working athletes, before we close the session?
Right. So I think the biggest one stays is focus on just doing something and increasing the number of times you're doing it. Right. I think this is from my previous coach who used to tell me the philosophy, which is frequency over volume over intensity. Right. So what it means is doing something more number of times should be your key metric when you're starting out, right? The more number of times you can do something, let's say you are were not working out at all, doing it once a week will be upgrade from there. Then increasing that 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 5, right? That should be the focus in the beginning, not how long you're doing it for or how hard you are doing it,
Right.
right? Because that's the most important part. Once you have figured that, okay, you are able to do 3 4 sessions a week, then you can start worrying about how long are you training for, right? Because second most important factor is then volume of how much time you are spending in the sport, be it running or any endurance sport, right?
Right.
And then finally comes intensity. So people make the mistake of going in the reverse order.
Right.
The one time they will go is they will knock out everything and get their PBs and then come back later next month
Injured.
injured as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So start in the this order, which is frequency first, then your volume, and then intensity. That's the key lesson. The next big part is managing your overall stress, right? Because when you train, you are actually causing stress to your body,
Right.
and it needs to be accounted for in parallel with the other stresses that you are putting on yourself,
Right.
which can be your work, which can be your family, which can be anything in your life. It can even be the traffic in Bangalore, right? It's
Which
a
is a
big
big
one.
thing.
It is very big. So
Yeah.
don't let it slide thinking, okay, um, you are just training. I mean, you are training the same amount of hours, but you are getting tired much more, right? Maybe you're doing something wrong. It can be the accumulation of your overall stress as
Yeah.
well. So if your workload is very high, you are better off doing less training than trying to maintain or even increasing at that point of
Yeah.
time. Or it can be any other stress as well. So always make sure that your overall life is balanced and you're not overdoing here, because that is where you end up in the overtraining zone and the injury zone.
Right. Right. And it can cost you years.
It can cost you a lot of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even money, I would say.
Mm.
You're
Yeah.
better off getting someone to guide you than pay a physiotherapist
Right.
when you get injured. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing, man. It has been a blast. Thank you for taking the time and sharing your experience with the Working
For
Athlete
sure.
podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Nice
Awesome.
meeting you.